today's video, we're going to walk the boys, plant some azaleas in the toad garden, hang my Victorian oil painting in the drawing room, and show you a jardinière. So we're just here at the supply store to pick up some plants and some supplies to hang our oil painting. I'm here with the boys. Hi boys! Hello boys! This is what I need for the toad garden. Some white azaleas. What do you boys think? What do you boys think? You two boys are complaining. We're just looking at some houseplants to see if there's anything, and we're not seeing anything. Hey boys. You boys ready to garden? Bear, you want to work in the garden with Mommy? Sometimes I like to bring the boys out to this field to play in, just to get out of the house and the yard for a little bit. So I'll give them a quick run. It's kind of hot, and it's been raining for a few days, so it's like a swamp out here, but that's okay. At least they'll get to get out and see something new for a change. Whee! Come on, puppies, run! Run! Run, puppies! Run, boys! Get your brother! Get your brother, Louie! Get him! Hey, bear! Hey, bear! Oh, bear! Louie! Let me see your face. He's a good boy. Too hot to play, huh, boys? At least you get to sniff around a little. What are you sniffing, boys? Louie, no, don't eat that bone. No. Good boy. So I'm just got 2 white azaleas from the store, and they only get to be 2.5, about 3 feet tall maybe, and they're reblooming, so it'll give some interest and work with this side garden nicely. I have white azaleas along the driveway and around the bird bath, so I'm going to add 2 more into the toad garden behind me. Let me show you. So this is where we're going to put them, right, Bear? So I have one right here by Bear, and my frog statue, and I have 2 in pots, and then I have lots of where I'm going to put the other one in front of the garnet Japanese maple. So I think just about right here. Here's my garnet. Get it right in here, and I plan to have several different plants of this encore white azalea. I think it's called an ivory. Let's see. Oh, I don't have the label on this one. It'll be on the other one. I think it's called an ivory. So it's a small one. It's not one of the big 4-footers. So this will work beneath the garnet, which will be about as big as I am. So let's just get this one quickly in the ground. And some of you know I've already been working on this toad garden for quite some time, and I just kind of add to it slowly over time. I don't totally have a whole bunch of money to spend and buy everything I need, so little by little. But as you can see, some of you who've been following the journey with me for a while, starting to get improved. So that's always exciting when you look back and you see some progress. But I just really want the front part of the house to be mainly white flowers, because the house, and this is the garage, but I call it the carriage house, is going to be light blue and white trim. Someday I'm going to have this repainted, and so I want the flowers to be mainly white. I think this poor little fella is really dry, so we'll get you in the ground. And all the bright colored plants are in the back gardens. And that gets a lot of full sun back there. I do have several gardens back there that I'm working on putting in. So it's about 1.3 or 1.6 acres here. I can't remember the exact number, but it's a pretty big yard for what I'm used to. You know, I'm coming from a major metropolitan area, so that's a really big yard to me. So what I'm doing is installing lots of garden rooms, and this is my toad garden room. I think that's pretty good. And then I'll just mulch it really good and give it a good drink of water. And I'll show you what I've done. Let's move on to the next one. So here it is in the ground. It's a nice good size, isn't it? So this will be my evergreen. And so far, that's the only evergreen I have, because the rest are hosta. This will lose its leaves. And I have these purple hearts, and they die back in the winter here. So I really need to get more evergreens in this garden. Okay, so this is the second one we have for today. So I like to do things balanced, so I try to get 2 at a time. And this one is an autumn ivory encore white azalea, and it will get to be 2.5 to 3 feet high and about the same wide. So I like the encore because they're reblooming. Just start with our hole here. Oops. So I'm just gonna water it in really well. Poor little fellas are really dried out. That's just the time of the year. It's starting to get really hot here in the deep south. So I usually like to buy my plants and everything in the early spring because they're not so stressed out, but I happen to know that these will do really well right here. And I have my handy toad over there, my toad statue. Just water them in really well. You want your first watering to be super deep watering. So let that soak in while I do the other one. So you can see my other hostas and purple hearts are everywhere. So here's our other azalea next to our lovely garnet Japanese maple. And I'm going to mulch them after I water them and then fertilize them. Give them a good drinking. So I feel like it's really making progress over here in this little garden. The more we fill it in, the more it will become a true cottage garden. And that's what I want. I want the rooms to close in and become like an English cottage garden. So pleased. I think they look lovely. So we have 2 evergreen azaleas, and I'll show them to you when they start blooming in the fall. There are things that we postpone out of fear, out of grief, or simply because we lose the strength to try again. For 10 years, this painting has waited, leaning up against a wall, and so have I. Today, at long last, we will restore a piece of this home. One screw, one breath, and one step forward. I bought this painting to reclaim something that was lost to me. Not the original mirror, not even the original house that it reminds me of, but a sense of belonging, a sense of beauty restored. They say hanging a painting is simple, but sometimes the things we can't hang up are the things we've carried the longest. I'm actually really nervous about hanging this painting correctly because I don't ever want it to come down. So step by step, I'm just going to do it one little thing at a time, starting with cleaning some of the dust off of the beautiful gold leaf French frame. This is a Victorian painting. I just love it so much. The frame is just as beautiful to me as the actual painting of flowers in the garden. So slowly I can see it coming back to life in the gold glimmering in the afternoon sun. There comes a time in every long restoration journey when a single act becomes a major turning point. For me, it was his painting. I know it sounds silly, but after years of this grand old painting leaning silently against the wall, gathering dust and bad memories, today I decided it was time. I started, like all things worth doing, with quiet intention, measuring carefully, finding the center of the wall, but perhaps the center of my own courage too. The stud finder in hand, one of those little modern tools that feels out of place in a house like mine, but it was necessary. These walls have history and scars, but today they hold hope for me. As I marked the spots and steadied the ladder, I thought of how many times I had put this off, afraid to do it all by myself. But healing, I found, is often in small, stubborn acts of progress. One screw, one level, a few little cuss words at a time. I've never had a drawing room before, never a place to hang art like this. Today, I give this space its dignity, and in doing so, perhaps I'm giving myself a little bit of mine back too. The frame is heavy, and the wire creaks slightly as I lift it, and then it settles. There it is, finally on the wall. A painting I chose with love and admiration, a promise to myself, is now fulfilled. It really changes this room. It changes the house, and quietly, secretly, it changes me too. This is just the beginning of something. It's not the end, but I feel so hopeful and so inspired. I just have to say that I am so exhausted and so happy at the same time. I feel like I have just climbed the highest peak mountain. Now I know what mountaineers feel like, because I have worried and fretted and procrastinated to hang this oil painting for over 10 years. And It represents more to me than just hanging a painting on the wall. It represents really how I see this house. It's always been a really sad place for me to live. It's just always been a place of brokenness, everything broken, of disappointment, of sort of, disappointed I didn't get to buy my family's home, my beautiful grandparents' home that my great-grandparents built. So it was just a lot of weird emotions for me, and this really changes how I see the house. I bought this painting to hang in my grandmother's house because I was trying to put back things wronged in the past, and all of her beautiful things that I showed you in the last video. Go ahead and watch that video about why this oil painting was on the floor for 10 years. And I show you some really bad pictures of my grandmother's home. She had a beautiful southern antebellum home, and I talked to you about wanting that house. And so when my grandparents died, my mother and her 4 brothers fought over every single stick of furniture and every item in that whole house, and they took everything apart and never to be seen again. So I felt like I had a romantic love of my family and wanted to put the house back together. I wanted to buy the house, and so I bought this to go in the place of a big French 18th century Louis XV real gold mirror, and only because it has a big French gold frame, a big presence, and my grandmother and I both loved French antiques. So this was meant for another house, in other words. So this, hanging it in this house, is sort of making this house mine. I don't have to rebuild my grandparents' home. I can build my home. And I feel like this painting is giving me permission to do that. I know it sounds strange. It's just the way that I feel. I'm sharing with you my innermost thoughts and my heart today, because that's what I love doing on my channel. It's more than just restoring a home. There are lots of channels like that. This is really restoring a dream in my heart. And so this feels so good. It has changed the whole house. Like, I'm sitting across the hallway from this front drawing room is the library, and that's where my bed is for now, because we're about to start working on my French bedroom next. Anyway, that's in the next video. Subscribe so that you'll get to watch that one. I think you're gonna like it, and you can help me make some decisions too. But anyway, I sit in the library and I can see this painting straight through the opposite side of the house, straight through to here. And I have stopped watching TV. Now I watch my oil painting. So it just really makes me feel so good. Like I can keep going. I can keep achieving difficult things. And I'm just really thrilled. And I hope you like it too. I think it's so great to be able to be an artist and a designer and have the ability to close your eyes and see something finished. And then you have to work backwards from the finished look and create it. So that's what we're going to do. Now, in some upcoming videos, I'm working on some furniture for this room, refinishing a coffee table and 2 side tables for this drawing room. So subscribe so you can see that too. But I'm also going to be kind of flipping in between the drawing room and my bedroom and then a sitting room upstairs. So I'm going to be giving you a tour of that, and we'll get to work on that soon too. I'm just so thrilled. I feel so good. Now I'm going to have some dinner and walk the bunnies and walk the puppies. What do you think, Bear? You like it? You say, yee. You really cute. Now you have to imagine this painting with 2 crystal wall sconces on either side. We'll do that someday. Right, Bear? Yee. Poor Bear had to listen to Mommy swearing. Since the dining room is chinoiserie in style, I'm introducing into the drawing room several chinoiserie pieces that I've collected. So let's go and see what we have for you today. So I have this lovely Chinese, it's actually Chinese, jardinière or planter that we're going to use in the formal drawing room. I actually bought this piece in Virginia when I went on a trip as a teenager when with my parents. So I've always been a collector of vintage and antiques. So this piece is vintage. I don't believe that it's an antique, but it is very fine nonetheless. It's all hand painted, and you can see that they're sort of greens like we're going to have in the formal dining room. There are teal colors that match the Persian rug. So it's introducing a lot of the colors that will be in the painting on the mural for the dining room, the formal dining room. So you'll need to subscribe to be able to see all of that. But right now we're working on the formal drawing room, and every week I'm showing you a new item that I have. So we'll be planting this out with a plant. I love having house plants incorporated into my decorating. So this planter has been used before. It has some dirt in the bottom, but look at the lovely gold edges, and it's the exact same types of flowers that will be used in the gourmet wall painting that I'll be doing. So this is going to fit in so beautifully. I love looking at all the sides of it. There are flowers, and these are lotus flowers on a pond, and some sorts of ladies and gentlemen. I just love it. They have little Chinese lanterns here. And here is a woman and her son over on the side here. So it's got all of the colors, and it's a nice size, and it's just going to be so beautiful in the finished drawing room. So where am I going to put this in the drawing room? Well, I'm not quite sure yet until we get the tables refinished and put into the room. I've already started working on the coffee table and the 2 side tables for the 1840s Victorian sofa. So subscribe and hit the notification bell for that. I originally was thinking about putting a potted plant on the coffee table, but the coffee table, you'll see, is very narrow and petite. So I think that this pot would just kind of overwhelm it. So I'm thinking about buying a taller plant stand. I do have about a 2 foot high plant stand that I could put it on, but we'll just have to wait and see exactly where this piece is going. But it's going to work beautifully to tie in with the chinoiserie style dining room that we're putting in. I just love having things from my lifetime to use in my house. I just don't like the idea of having everything all brand new. I like that it's collected and that there's stories behind every piece. I remember going on this really long road trip in Virginia with my parents. I wish I could remember the name of the place. But it was like a warehouse, several warehouses, and they sold Persian rugs. They sold pieces like this, and they sold decorative tables, furniture, and it was all at a wonderful price. And if anybody out there happens to know of this wonderful place to shop in Virginia, please write to me in the comments section because I really want to go back there. But this just reminds me of that trip. My dad bought this for me and a couple of other pieces that have since long been lost. But I have this piece to remember the trip by and to remember my dad. And it just goes to show you that my taste really hasn't changed much. I still love Chinese things. I love chinoiserie. I love antiques. I love kind of formal living. It's really what I grew up with. I just really love to live in a formal house. I like the seating and the bedrooms to be extremely comfortable, but I like it to be livable, but I like it to be grand. And so I was around that from my grandmother, of course. She had the most formal, elegant, antebellum Southern home, and someday I dream of buying it back. But my mother and my father also lived in an Edwardian house, which is just after the Victorian period. But so it was also very formal and grand. But the thing with their house was it was very uncomfortable to live in. You had a lot of rules to follow. So in my house, I like it to be ultimately comfortable, cozy, peaceful, relaxing, but very formal and special. I don't like things to all come from the same store. I like them to be collected with stories, and I hope you enjoyed hearing about it. Well, it's up after 2 long days, and that's my rabbit, Furfy. After 2 long days and learning how to use a stud finder, measuring, remeasuring, re-stud finding, drilling, and still missing the stud with 1 extra hole and 2 correct holes, and 1 heavy trip up a ladder and then a chair, we finally got this thing hung. Now, I promise to always be completely honest with you on my YouTube channel because I cannot stand it when DIY and home channels always make everything look so easy when the reality is very different. I once hired a professional to hang this very same painting in the room next to me in the dining room, and he drilled 8 holes in my wall, wound up cussing at me, got fired, and I still haven't repaired that wall. So it does make me feel better that even I made a mistake and I'm not a professional, but it is safely hung with the right 2-inch all-purpose screws into the stud. So that's not coming down. That painting is actually not all that heavy. It looks heavier than it is, but the frame is kind of like hollow in some places, so it's not that bad. But after all of that trouble and a lot of swearing on my part and sweating, and which you won't see in the video, there was a time when I had to remove my pants. Yes, I did. I had to hang this sucker, or drill the holes anyway, without pants on, and that's not going in the video because my trousers are wide-legged and I kept tripping up and down the ladder, and that's all that I have. So this was funny, but I have to say it looks beautiful. And after 10 long years of really anguish about wanting to have all the pictures and mirrors in the house hung. This is the first one. We have many more to do, and in the next video, I'm going to give you a quick peek at my beautiful blue bedroom that has sat covered in dust for 2 years because I got injured in there, and a lot of procrastination. I'm going to give you a quick peek at it, and then I'm going to go through the design, and I'm going to show you some fabrics, the paint color I've chosen, the furnishings, some of them that I have for that room, and we're going to talk about it because that's going to start soon, and I want to explain it all to you. And I'm really excited about this. This is a great victory. Thank you for watching. Please like, please subscribe to the channel, and you can follow the journey of me restoring this entire house with European inspiration from the great English country estates and French chateau, all the inspiration. My name is Alexandra, and thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next video. Bye! With a special thank you to all of my patrons. I really appreciate all of your support.